Hello.
Hi.
Oh, I was panicking. I don't know why. Okay. Now I got this
So
from the
lucky we were asked
URL.
to be here in advance.
Exactly. There's a reason.
So I hope Kaka gets in as well. Oh, she's here.
Hello.
Good. Hey. You know what's a strange thing? That I was the first one in. Because I'm a computer person. Okay. Cool.
All right. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
shall we quickly go through to make sure that we all know what's where? And then we need to agree on who's going to share PowerPoint presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, I guess.
Okay.
And maybe do you pronounce Yuna or Juno? How is it pronounced? Juna, the platform.
Yeah,
okay.
Juno.
So when we say hello, we can say hello to Juna and YouTube people. Okay, cool.
Yes. That's true.
Okay, good. So for the PowerPoint, well, I guess that when it's time to start, it might be. I mean, I can start with saying that what this session is about. If that's okay for you.
I will need to read the statement, right?
Yes. So I'm saying, this session is about isolation and connectedness, and I'll say if that's what you're expecting, you're in the right conference room. And then then I'll say that it's in two parts. This session, the first is more theoretical, the other one is a bit more pocket out, a bit more practical, and then we introduce ourselves. Okay, maybe just like 2-3 sentences each. So if you want, I can start since I'll be doing the talking, and then maybe a room, and then you can present yourself, and then you read the statement. Okay, so it's not too much. Yeah, it might be faster. Kaka, did you hear that? Okay. So Kaka, when you hear us, let us know so we can repeat something that we said before. Okay. Okay, so it's introduction of the session, and then our introduction. So I just start, then Kaka, then you, Farah, and then you read those rules, the code of conduct, and then we start with loneliness, and then we have loneliness and relationships and mental health, 2 slides, and then we have time for questions and answers.
Okay. So can we just make sure how we want to go over these questions? So we're asking them, put your questions down in the chat.
There's an option for them also to speak up, right?
Yeah, there is. We can do that too, to hear them.
So maybe we can say this, if they want, they can write in a chat whenever they want to. Kaka will be there. Yeah, she will, be looking for it. I mean, I guess it will also very much depend on, how lively this chat is going to be. Kaka will be there, and she will be following what's happening in chat. And like last time, we have agreed that if there's a lot of going on in this chat, then we would, the Kaka will kind of like make a short summary at the beginning of questions and answers. Say, in chat, this and this were the question, this has been happening, blah, 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 blah. But we'll see. I don't know. I think we need to, also the two of you, not just me, because I'm probably going to lose track. I'll be talking at the beginning to make sure that we have enough time for the mindfulness exercise. I think it's really important. And then for the session.
So I think, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think Mariko should be with us here to take us through the function of the platform, but she's not responding. So I will just kind of quickly, did any of you join the training for the platform, how it works?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that like the regular buttons on the left, off, on, all that stuff. And then this chat on the right side, the chat that it says chat, this is the chat that our participants can join. And then like this is where we will summarize things from. This Q&A, this is if we're having some polling actions and stuff, we will not be using this. Or the other option is participants can also ask a question in this tab Q&A, and then participants can vote on this question. So it could be that we have 20 participants, 3 of them are asking the same question. So this question pops up at the top.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's what I explained. This also means that if, for example, somebody asks a question and the others think it's really relevant, they can vote for that question. So that question would pop up again on the top. This is the Q&A. These polls, we're not using polls because we are not asking them any questions. And MOD is the chat that is just between us. And this is also the place where Wangari Kaburi from, she's our YouTube moderator. So she will put questions here as well. That's what I understood. Because they told us that the streaming on YouTube is not very clear, I will send a link to our PDF PowerPoint to Wangari to put that link on YouTube when the session starts. So people can open the PDF and follow the PowerPoint, like separately from the
yeah, that is good.
From the streaming, because if you're streaming on phone, you can't really see things. Okay, this is kind of in short. I didn't hear what you two were talking before.
Yeah, I was just reading the note now. We were just saying that when the time, I mean, in 19 minutes, we're just gonna start, and then I'll make a short introduction on the session, so what the session is about, and then we'll introduce ourselves. If it's okay, I will start, since I'll be, I mean, I can start. I'll be the one talking at that moment. And then maybe you can go, Kaka, and Farah can do the last presentation, and then she'll read the rules of conduct, okay. Maybe, Kaka, that's also a time for you to say that Q&A is to write down all the questions, and the chat is for participants to express their opinions and anything. That's maybe you can say at this point, and then we go. Like loneliness, relationship, mental health. It's time. We'll see if we're over, I guess, 20 minutes, then we should not be taking questions and answers, I guess, at that stage, so that we have enough time, and we leave them for the very end. If that's okay for you, so we don't run over time for connectedness. And is there something happening? Is someone?
No, I'm just kind of like talking to Mariko.
Okay.
I asked where is she, and she said that she's still in the previous session, but will join us soon.
Okay.
Did you figure out how to share the screen?
No.
It says here on our screen, it says SR. Oh, it says here, there's a picture of a desktop and it says off, and you can share the desktop. I can try, but when I need to read the statement, I don't know if that will switch to the statement, so I can try now, I can.
We're very.
Hi team, this is Joseph from Juno here.
Hello.
Here for tech support if needed.
Okay, we are trying to figure out how to share the screen because our Juno support, she's still in the previous session. So
I can definitely help you out with that. So bottom left corner, you have the camera, the mic, and then the third button is screen sharing.
Okay.
So click on that for me, and then you have 3 options there. You have entire desktop, Windows, and then Chrome. So select which one you'd like to share.
Yes.
And then share.
So I'm here. I can share it, but I'll be having to switch so I can read the statement.
So go ahead and share for now so that you can see the view.
Okay, let's just see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how is the view?
Perfect. So now I'm able to see your screen.
Okay.
So I see questions and answers.
Okay. Do you see the slides on the side or just the full
I
screen?
do see the slides on the side, so you have to enter presentation mode.
You could potentially use the PDF version, and then the slides probably won't be visible.
Okay, so give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let's take it here first, step by step, before we jump steps.
Yeah.
You're currently in Google Slides. Are you in presentation mode in Google Slides?
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay, so just click on present.
Okay, I don't know.
It should be at the top.
No. Yeah, I don't see a top.
Okay, I think you have it in large. So go back into Slides. So click on the bottom left corner. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm not able to see your entire screen. Are you zoomed in or something? Like,
No, I don't think so. But okay.
Okay, so if that's the case, do me a favor.
I don't see any other options.
Open it up and give me 1 second. We still have 15 minutes, so we have time here. Okay. So do me a favor. Open that link up again. This is a Google slide, so open up that link in a different browser.
Okay. In a different, like a different tab? Do you want
like a different tab, yes.
Okay. Yeah, see, I still don't see the options at the top for some reason.
Okay, so this is a problem with Google Slides then, the option that you're using.
Okay.
Are you able to download it as PDF or anything? Or do any of your teammates have access to this?
We have in the folder, there's a PDF version of the slides. Farah.
Yeah,
if you just take that down, yeah, it's going to be quicker.
Yeah, I see the PDF version. Download it. Oh, good. Okay, let me see. All right, let me start again. Okay, I'm sharing. This is the PDF. Just need to put it in full screen. Is this full screen?
Nope. So on the left of your PDF, that hamburger button, there you go. That's the best that you can do at this point.
Okay.
It's full screen. We see the title at the top. It's fine. At least you can't see the upcoming slides.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I just need to scroll down like with my mouse.
Correct. Yeah. You just need to scroll down. My best suggestion here, you see where it says 112 at the top?
Yeah, I'm making it. I should make it smaller.
Yeah, make it 100 so that it's just a regular screen and then everything can be seen. There you go.
Okay. Is this fine? The way you're seeing it?
We're seeing a little bit of the second slide in the bottom, but I think that is fine for now, considering that the presentation on Google Slides itself is not working.
Okay. Okay, we can do that. Also, so if I switch to read the statement, so if I switch right now, 1 second, let me know if you. Okay, I switched the tab. Do you still see the presentation or the tab?
Yes, I see the presentation still.
Okay, so I can read the statement.
Yeah. So at any point, so long as you're sharing the window itself, that's the only thing that is shown.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. Awesome. So you guys are set to go. Are all the speakers in the room?
Yes.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, you have 11 minutes of your time back, so you still have time to catch your breath, take a deep breath, drink some water, take a break, and best of luck to all. This should be a fun one.
And Joseph, if we have any technical issues, how can we then reach you? Or should we reach you through Mariko?
So the best, one of the most important thing in your screen right now is at the top right corner where it says MOD or mod.
Yeah.
That's where the back end communication is going to happen. Behind the scene communication is going to happen. So your moderator is going to be in there. Let them know the issue that you're experiencing, and then we'll be able to jump in and guide you through it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So you guys are set and ready to go. Best of luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Mariko.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. Hi, Corona. Sorry. I was in the previous session. Sorry. So if there's any problem, please type in the chat so that I can help. And also, we will have one more supporter for observing YouTube comments. And yeah, so bring all the questions to QA tab. So please check this QA tab.
Okay.
Mariko, I have a quick question. Would I be able to do some, if I want to, another source? Like I just have a breathing exercise. I was wondering if in the back there's like some calming music. Would I be able to do that somehow, or should I just play it on my phone, and that will be heard, or I should play it?
What does it mean? Another source? From phone?
No.
Yeah, I can probably put. Yeah, I thought maybe from my phone then.
Yeah, if you are using Google Chrome, you can directly give. But it's not only the music. Yeah. Is it only on YouTube or something?
Yeah, maybe but I was thinking maybe I can just play it from my phone and they can. It's just the background.
And like music. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's
okay. I can try.
Way. Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to test if you can hear this like music. Can you hear it? And if I speak over it?
I feel a little bit smaller. So can you? Yeah. I feel.
Hey, Farah, can you try to share it? Hi, can you try to share it from your desktop as well, from your laptop, the music? I don't know.
Can try.
Is it an audio file or is it Spotify or anything?
It's a Spotify.
Yeah, maybe we can just try because I think you can click on share audio as well. So let's see if that works. Otherwise, I'll ask the technicians to join.
And otherwise, let's do it without the music.
Corana, sorry, can you send a link to the WhatsApp?
Yes, I'm just trying to figure out. I need to send it to Gmail to then copy it to WhatsApp. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because
okay,
I don't use WhatsApp on my computer.
Okay, I will do that. So sorry. Okay. Please forget about it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Are we good, ladies?
Yeah.
Let me just try the music.
Okay. So when I'll just continue. So when we come to the second part, Farah, then you do the exercise first, and then.
Okay, I'm thinking to do the exercise after because it feels weird to do the exercise and then go into what we're doing here, what we're doing. I feel like I go over connecting to ourselves and tell them, connecting to ourselves, we'll get to an exercise after, and then how we connect with others, and then connecting with the world. Okay. And then we get into that exercise and end on that note and take questions after that.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I would like to end on that after the exercise. So with the questions instead of doing it at first and then going into the details and the resources and everything.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
good. That'll work, I think, fine, yeah.
So for connecting to yourself, to ourselves, you will say something, or are you going to present the thing that we did in Slovenia? Or would you like talk and myself to do?
What do you prefer? Because I can present it and say what Scouts in Slovenia have done, and like this is they put together this web page to help young people identify their different emotions, help them with their mental health, take a survey, or take a test, or do you want to present that?
I'm kind of thinking maybe because we know what exactly it was. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anushka, are you okay to do that? Like to say a few sentences?
If you want to, Kaka, you can take this. Otherwise, yes, of course. Or unless it's just say.
Like I think I don't mind, but it probably would be easier if you do it, if it's not like too much.
If it's okay for Farah, then yes, sure. It probably makes sense.
Yeah, because I think it's because like you pretty much did this. So this is what I'm kind of thinking.
Yeah, so you can present these, right? The 3 that are here on the screen.
Yeah, those 3. Yeah. Okay, so when you start talking about what does to connect mean, then you say connecting to ourselves, and then I talk about this, and then you go to the other point of the world and to others.
Okay. I just wanted to give us just a short brief after on this screen.
Okay.
On a brief on connecting to ourselves, connecting to others in our community, and connecting to the world. Yes. And then I'll say now we're going to give examples of what Scouts have been doing to accommodate this and help each other stay connected and stay well.
Yeah, I suggest that we kind of use the terminology guides and Scouts or Scouts and guides.
What do you exactly? Yes, tell me what.
Yeah, like usually when we
Scouts and guides,
guides and Scouts, Scouts and guides, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's a great point.
Because otherwise it's like Girl Guides, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts.
Yeah, so I didn't know what I would say.
It's
okay. Scouts and guides.
Yeah.
Hello. I just wish you luck and all the best. And also just a few pointers before you get started, that if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. It will help us not have feedback from the other speaker. And then remember the other participants on YouTube. So when you engage, also invite them to participate and let them know there's a moderator that's channeling their comments and questions to the Juno platform. And best of luck. Break a leg.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, because they said if we kind of mute ourselves, then the speaker is highlighted and the others are kind of similar to Zoom.
Okay, so when we share the screen, Farah, you're sharing the screen. So when you share the screen, people will see only screen and not us, or do they have the pictures we have now? Do we know?
I think they will see the screen.
Only screen. So for majority of the presentation, they will see screen, right?
Yeah. Maxine?
Yeah.
We're able to see the speakers on the screen and the screen that you're displaying. And then you may invite those on Juno to maximize it using the tiny little corners. And then for those that are on YouTube, we can share the presentation link to them. I see we're timing out to 1 minute, so I'm going to step out. But if you need anything, just type on the part that says MOD next to the polls, and I'll be able to respond to you via text.
Okay, so should we switch the cameras off and then exactly at 11 o'clock we switch them on, or we just keep kind of like this?
Even if you keep them on, it's perfectly fine. Just make sure that when the timer says live, then you are ready to start. And then the session will remain live as long as you're in the room. So after you're done, just make sure you exit, because participants will hear everything that you'll say.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like the last thing, Kaka, maybe when we share this the example from Slovenia, we can put in chat the
link.
website. Can you do this?
Yes, otherwise all the links on the presentation, they're live links. So if you want, you could potentially click like on the link in the presentation and it will take you there. But maybe because of the internet speed and stuff, I'll just put it in the chat.
Good luck, girls.
Thank you, Kaka.
So the first Q&A, we said it's not happening. The second Q&A, we bring questions from participants, right?
For the first one, we see how much time we have. So
Okay,
if we're over 20 minutes, we skip it. And we say, all the questions from this part we'll take at the end.
Okay. I think you can just invite me and then I can tell you, just call me.
Or maybe we can invite you to make a short summary in every case. And then if we're...
Okay, we're going live.
Yeah. Okay, hello to everyone. It's great to see people have already started to chat. Juna. And hello to also all of you who are following us on YouTube. It's my pleasure to welcome you here at this session. And if you are here to talk about isolation, about relationships, and how to connect online in this world, then we believe that you're in the right conference room. So as the title is promising, this session will start with first looking at loneliness, relationships, and also their connection to mental health. And then we will explore what it means. And we will try to create or try to engage and be connected in, also during this session. So as I'm saying, the first part might sound a bit more theoretical, but we believe that knowledge is empowering. So it's important to know what's happening, things are happening, because it then helps us to accept things as they are, or to normalize, or to know where and how to make the little changes we want to make in ourselves, in our lives. And in the second part, we would love to invite you all to engage, to experience this connectedness, to share with others all the best that you have to share. So it's polite to start with introducing ourselves. There will be 3 facilitators with you for those next 45 minutes. My name is Urška. I do come from Slovenia, and I have been asked to share the things that I did for my member organization in last year to help people to go through their mental health, or to support them in their mental health in the last year. Also professionally, I do work on this field of mental health. Farah, would you go next? Oh, Kaka, sorry. Kaka, would you go next?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kaka, and I come from Slovenia. So I've been supporting Urška on some of the work on mental health that we have done in the Slovenian Guides and Scouts over the past year, which we'll be presenting today. I am also a WAGGGS volunteer as well. So World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. Good to Farah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the session from wherever you're logging in. My name is Farah, and I work with the World Organization of the Scout Movement. And I worked in content development, and I'm very happy to be here with you today to talk a little bit about overcoming isolation and how to connect online. So we will move ahead with, I'd like to read a little bit to you about a facilitator statement. And this is just some housekeeping rules that, that we just need to keep in mind before we kick off and start off our session. So I'd like to read to you that this session is part of the Global Youth Summit, and we strongly engage you to explore other sessions and any of the 3 tracks that you see on the program of the event. By joining this session, you'll have the opportunity to speak, and this means you are consent to your image and audio being broadcasted as well. Of course, we are live broadcasting on YouTube. And by participating in the Global Youth Summit, you've agreed to behave professionally, respectfully, and be culturally sensitive towards other people, to promote the principles of respect, diversity, and inclusion, as well as to actively prevent and not engage in abusive behavior of any kind that leads to harm, prejudice, and discrimination against any person. If you do not adhere to these principles or the summit's code of conduct, you will be removed from the session and potentially banned from the entire event. And the organization that nominated you will be notified of these actions. So please pay very close attention to that. We have a safeguarding team moderating our interaction on the Juno platform, the live broadcast chat function, and all social media channels. So at any point, if you feel unsafe, you witness any concerning behavior, please reach out or by sending an email to safe@globalyouthmobilization.org. That's safe@globalyouthmobilization.org. You may also get in touch with our support team at the virtual help desk. So all information emailed to the email address, of course, will be kept private and confidential. So I hope you paid attention to that, and now we can move on and start our session today. And I will leave the floor to Urshka.
Okay, thank you. So if you think of your last year, all the changes that have happened, is the feeling of loneliness familiar to you? How did you feel in this last year? If you're okay with this, you can think of concrete moment of you being lonely or feeling lonely. And once you have it, think of, did that loneliness motivate you to do something? If you want, you can share this in chat or also on YouTube, but you don't have to. So that's something that's, that's your story. But so when we feel lonely, we feel lonely when socializing with people that we want to. And that feeling, it's very uncomfortable and we don't like it, but it motivates us to seek for company of the people that are important to us. So it's kind of like motivate us to do some action. It has similar function to sadness, because when we are sad, we're telling other people that we need support and that we need other people to be around us. And if we go deeper in exploring those two emotions, then we can try to understand. And we do see that they are both those feelings are important because they call for human contact. They call for relationship. There is a big variety on how we live different feelings or how we express different feelings in different cultures. But there's generally quite good understanding among different cultures what a good or negative or bad or negative emotions look like, or which are the positive and negative emotions. And regardless to which of the emotions we're talking, those we are happy to accept or those we have some troubles, accept is important. And this is one of the key messages that we would like to pass on to you, is that all emotions are important, and don't be afraid to feel lonely or don't be afraid to feel sad. This all is very important. It's opening you to other people. It's opening you to relationships. And we know that relationships is our basic human experience. We all have relationships, all different sorts of relationships, and they are important. They're also they're also among the basic needs of human being, survival needs. So when we think of survival needs, you probably will think of air and food and shelter, but there's also a need for space and a need for touch. And a need for space, meaning that we require personal space. So it's not just the shelter to protect us from sun, from cold, but it's also suitable indoor living. And also the outdoor we can go to avoid overcrowding and chaos. when we think of touch as a survival need, we talk about the importance of human touch, because the humans are to interact in different communities, and we need touch. And there is a lot of research going on how human touch is important for brain development, and how this is the very basic of good mental health and also of human development. So what we're trying to say here is that yes, relationships. Maybe there was a time of social isolation and we have to accept certain rules to survive this period, but relationships are important. And maybe it's time for us to be creative, to find different ways of how to interact with other people. And we do all believe that you have been, exploring those options very much in last year. If we can go to the next slide. Para? Okay. So when talking about relationships, when talking about young people, relationships to peers are even more important than are very important. Also comparing to the relationships that younger children have when they very much need the relationships with adults, and it takes a young child, a baby, quite a lot of time to turn out and to start playing with other children, and they're not just being around their parents. But for young people, peers are important because together with peers, you explore values, you explore, you question the world, you start to make questions that you cannot make when surrounded with adults. And this is important to building the value system, which is also the basic for spiritual health, which is also very important to answer those existential questions that we need to answer, that we are answering constantly in our lives. But if we go to the mental health and we look from this perspective on what has been happening in last year, there is something that we would love to remind you of, and this is that we do accept the serious psychosocial consequences of this pandemic to be quite severe among the people who are following the news through numerous media channels. And we do think that this can be a little trap for young people, that we know that a lot of youngsters are following very different, diverse media channels. And for us, when we were talking about this presentation, the next question seems to be quite a key message as well. And it is, who is worthy of my trust? So who do I trust when I do read what's happening around the world? Is that like the medical disease, such as the COVID pandemic is? Are the peers really the most trustworthy people? I mean, the trustworthy source of the information? Are the information that we get on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, on all the other social media really the best messages that we can get on this like medical issue? We're not trying to be judgmental, or we're not trying to teach, but it might be just a question for every one of us, to answer to, or to keep in mind, but also to remind us that it is important to research the resources and to ask questions and to go deeper and to dig and to demand, for some of the other, and the questions to be asked when we talk about the sources. If we look on mental health and if we look for the future on what to expect to happen, is that we can expect some challenges around establishing the routine and the structure. For many of us, it has been quite confusing in this last year and a half. So schools have been closed, universities has been closed. There were many different rules that we have to follow, but we do expect the world to go, some people say to kind of the normal life back again, but we do expect things to calm down in the future. And this will require quite some of energy to build structures again, to get used to this routine. But we also could be a good opportunity to think of, which things are worthy to keep and for which things we can rethink or reestablish once again. So we don't have to take everything as it was. It's a good time to restart and, to go deeper and to think further at this time that we are, that is to happen. sadly, there is increase of domestic violence, and I do believe you have been talking a lot about this in other sessions, so we're not touching this at this very point, but it's just something to say that yes, we can also expect the domestic violence to even increase in the future if we're not going to take action. So as it was also something that was important to us, I think it's also important on the topic of domestic violence. Speak up. Don't be afraid to ask questions. When you're approaching to people, I mean, go and ask for the questions and, you know, offer people support if you can. Some of the mental health professionals are, well, connecting, or some of the mental health professionals believe that also the COVID pandemic situation is similar to the natural disasters, with the big difference that it's worldwide. So the natural disasters usually happen in specific geographical area. This pandemic is a worldly situation. Also, the difference is that, well, it's less so much longer, these pandemics that we're in currently. But what were usually the results of the natural disasters were the increase of substance abuse, of post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. And this is also something that we can probably expect increase also in the future after this, the COVID pandemics. And maybe just a couple of the last few words on mental health is that we know that there is a lot of young people are reporting the increase of depression, anxiety, and self-harm. And we also know, and what we can see in the current situation, that for those people who, also young people who have been diagnosed with different mental health disorders previously, before the pandemic itself made this situation even worse. And we're not talking about few people around the world. We're talking thousands and millions of young people that are struggling in this time. I do have some data here from the UK, one of the UK researchers that says that 1 in 6 young people in the UK, in 1 in 6 people in the UK, they were able to observe the signs of mental disorders, especially of anxiety and depression. So we know that these are big numbers of all young people around the world that are suffering now. What we can do, of what every one of us can do, is to take a good self-care, the good care of herself, of himself, and to connect. And those two things seems to be the keys for long-term resilience, and something that we can all try to do with a little bit of engagement, and maybe in some cases with a little bit of imagination, we can do this. Okay. So it seems to be, well, this big theoretical part that is over us at this very moment, and I hope it was not too much for you. Sometimes this can be hard. We do have some moments, if there's any one of you who would be willing to say something, to share something, maybe to ask any questions or to make a comment. We do have a few moments now. You don't have to. We're not pushing anyone. There will be some time at the very end of the session. There will be some time at the end of the session, so maybe you do need some time to make up your minds, and we can continue the next more engaging part, okay?
Thank you, Urshka. So here we move on to the idea of connection and making very important connections that as human beings we do need, and this helps us with our own well-being, how to be the best versions of ourselves. So I'll start with 3 very, very key connections that we would focus on, and one is the connection to ourselves. And a connection to ourselves, this is most likely the top priority connection that you would want to focus on. When we take care of ourselves and prioritize this connection with yourself, this is when we are able to take care of others. We start to notice some things in ourselves, start to pay attention to how you speak to yourself. Is it more of a critical voice, or is it more of a positive and supportive voice to yourself? And it's very easy, especially in this very hard time that we've just passing through. Also, the age that you're now in, it's very easy to be critical of ourselves rather than be positive and encouraging. And so start to notice on how you connect to yourself and kind of prioritize that connection. And we will go into an exercise later on to help you take that practice into your daily life and sort of helps you get grounded and connected and centered to yourself. The second key connection that we make is a connection to others and our communities. So as human beings, we are social beings, and we need social connections, and we need social interactions for our own well-being and to survive. And it's very easy in the time of this pandemic to, of course, feel lonely, as we described earlier, feel lonely and sad and isolated, but making sure that you invest some time in those connections that bring you joy, whether it's connecting online, talking on the phone, and you do notice that it enhances your well-being when you invest in these connections with others and people around your community. And the third type of connection is how we connect globally and to the world around us. And this comes from things like feeling like you are a global citizen, feeling like you are part and a very important contributor to what is going on in the world, what goes on around you in your communities, how you positively impact, how you leave a positive impact in the world. And it's also about connecting with nature, and we'll go a little bit deeper in the next slides to see how the scouts and guides, what they've been doing during this whole pandemic since last year, to kind of build on these connections and making sure that young people and youth and children everywhere actually have access to resources and tools where they can focus on these three connections. So I will move on to an example, a very great example from Scouts in Slovenia that Urshka will talk about in a minute. And this is on how to connect to ourselves.
Okay. So yeah, I'm happy to share with you some of the things that we did in Slovenia in last year. And it all started with, when the pandemic hit, in March last year, we started thinking that we need to support our leaders in their mental health, help them to understand what's happening and help them to accept all those different emotions they might be having around the situation, around what's happening. So we actually made this platform that you can reach on internet. Kaka will share with you also the link in the chat, but you can also find it on PowerPoint that's being shared with you. So there is a description of different emotions or different mental states that one can find herself or himself in. So you can read about depression, you can read about the anxiety, you can read about stress, you can read about loneliness. And this website is structured in the way that helps you to understand, helps you to recognize first all those emotions, and then helps you to address it. So there are also some good ideas on how to do to help yourself. So what can you do if you feel depressed? What can you do if you feel under stress? So which are either exercises or good examples, good practices that can help you to overcome this. There is also an invitation, it's on the same webpage, to join the 5 weeks of mindfulness program. It was made for leaders, and it's centered, the whole program is centered to leaders to understand themselves, who they are, to learn about themselves, their thoughts, their priorities, their ideas, to relax, to find a little bit of peace in this hectic world around. There's a lot of course, practical exercises. There is a lot of room for thinking and for going deeper. So it's also available in English, and that's definitely something that you can, or probably all of you, read on that previously mentioned webpage. And the last thing was just published a few days ago, actually, and that's a workbook for kids of different ages. So it's meant to be from very young to adolescents, and for maybe even for young adults. It's a workbook that guides the person who's working on this workbook to explore herself, to explore himself, to what's good, what's of the value, for him to understand emotions, to understand the importance of different emotions, to see where in the body you can find different emotions, and how to communicate those emotions to the world. The last part of this book also has some good tips for exercise, for connecting to the world, to others, to yourself. Also some of the mindfulness exercises. This part is sadly only in Slovenian, but it might be that we find money and energy for it to be translated in English. And if so, we would be very happy to also share this with you then later. So that's about this Slovenian example, Farah.
Okay. Thank you, Arshika. Yes, this is wonderful. So we'll move on to how we have been connecting to others and the world. So during this pandemic, and I'll give you some examples of what Scouting has been doing since the start of the pandemic, and to make sure that we are still connected to each other. Of course, we are Scouts and Guides are a global movement, and that focuses on building friendships between young people around the world. And so since the start of the pandemic, we have been engaging young people in online global campfires, we call that. Of course, with Scouts and Guides, they are used to camping, and this is one of the many joys of being a Scout and a Guide. So we have been holding global campfires where young people are able to tune in and discuss certain topics, whether it's around the Sustainable Development Goals or any issues or contributions that they can be making in their communities. We have also an event that we usually host called Jota Joti, and this is a Jamboree on the air and Jamboree on the internet that is also open to anyone. You do not have to be part of Scouting, and you can join this event. It happens in October, and we had one in the middle of the pandemic, which we'll get to in a little bit. And this is a weekend full of fun and activities and quizzes and webinars that you can learn from and be able to build those friendships, regardless if you're doing it behind a screen or rather than in person right now. What we have also done is Scouting at Home, where as soon as the pandemic outbreak happened, immediately Scouting shifted a lot of its programs to be online, just to make sure that that young people are still able to connect. They're still being able to get that non-formal education that they have been getting from Scouting and Guiding. So Scouting at Home enabled them to continue with their meetings with their local groups and continue to do a lot of activities even from home. Yeah, so we will see some resources on the next slide. Okay, and some examples of this, where you can also access these resources. We will be sharing this presentation, and you can access these resources, and they're really useful for you to listen to use, and read through. One of these resources is a Mental Health Matters, and this is a webinar that took place during the event that I just talked about with Jota Joti. And this is a mental health specialist who's also a Scout, and giving a short webinar on how we can overcome the feelings of isolation, and that it is okay to not be okay, and how to deal with those emotions that, of course, have been just boiling up since the last year, after a very challenging year. There's Better Mental Health for All. This is an example of Scouts of the UK having a dedicated webpage where for different age groups and different activity ideas that groups can do together. And you could even do it with your friends, with your siblings, to sort of focus on that mental health and make sure everybody is okay. There's COVID-19 Survival Strategies Handbook, and this is produced by WAGGGS with also lots of activities and information about how to survive and overcome the challenges that COVID-19 has imposed on us. There's a free Being Me also, where you can access it on, it's part of the WAGGGS program on more body confidence and how to feel your best. And Stop the Violence is also WAGGGS, is part of WAGGGS advocacy program and includes lots of activity handbooks in there. So these are some useful resources that we've been working on to try and continue to keep young people engaged and feeling well. And I will move to the next one. So before I get to questions, now that we have a little bit of time, I would love to take us through an exercise where we said we want to connect to ourselves. Okay, so we said we want to prioritize prioritize that type of connection is the one we have with ourselves. So I'd like to take us through a little bit of a mindfulness exercise to kind of center ourselves, and it's more of a breathing exercise. So however, I encourage you all to do it with us right now. And yes, so let's take care of ourselves, take a few minutes. It's not even 5-minute long exercise, and this is something you can take and start to practice, like include it in your daily routine, or when you're just feeling overwhelmed or anxious and filled with emotions, just take that time where you can sit quietly and go through an exercise like this. So this is how you can also get into meditation, but I'll take you through this breathing exercise right now. So I want you to all sit in a comfortable position, whether you are laying down in an upright position, sitting on a chair, and I want us all to close your eyes, place your palms on your lap, make sure you're comfortable. And then I need you to shift your attention to your breathing, okay? Taking slower, deeper, and deeper breaths, like the deepest breaths you've taken all day. And we need you to take a deep breath through your nose, okay? And slowly let it out through your mouth. Okay, I want you to continue breathing this way for a few times. Feel your lungs expand also as you inhale, and feel them getting bigger and filled with air, with all that oxygen you're letting in. And then feel your lungs emptying all that oxygen out as you slowly and slowly exhale. And as you're doing this, tune into your body. Listen to how it feels. Is it trying to tell you anything? Do you feel some type of tension in different places? Maybe your shoulders, your face, is it tense? I want you to relax, to try to relax every muscle and just focus on the breathing. Keep breathing deeply through your nose and exhale through your mouth, okay? Send some breath and love to all these areas in your body. If you're feeling anything tense, and let every part of you relax. So do this, take a couple of breaths in, breaths out, okay? Let's also thank our body for taking really good care of us, for carrying us through this past year, for carrying us through the next year, and really just give that some gratitude. Okay, it's okay if your mind also wanders off, that's totally normal. Just try to bring back your thinking to your breath, okay? Relax your jaw also, your eyelids. We tend to hold on to them very tightly for no specific reason. So I want you all to relax that, relax your eyelids, your jaw. You can rest your tongue at the bottom of your mouth and just breathe. Okay, think of something that made you smile today and let that feeling fill you up for a moment. So anything that made you smile, that you felt happy and grateful for, think a little bit about that and let it fill you up as you continue your breathing. Okay, breathe it all in, allow yourself to smile if that feels natural to you right now. Okay. Focus on something you want to do for yourself today or for someone else. Okay, think, what can you do? What can you add into your schedule today that will make you happy? What action can you take towards someone else that will make you feel at peace and joy and bring happiness to someone else. Okay. Continue breathing. Breathe in, take deep, deep breaths, fill your lungs up, and empty them slowly through your mouth. Okay. Take a few more deep breaths here. Okay. You can hold in your breath once you inhale, and then let it out through your mouth. And you'll find that that is a way to clear your head as well. Okay. Now, we can try to bring ourselves back a little bit at a time. Okay. Remember to be kind to yourself. Continue breathing. And now you can gently open your eyes and give yourself a nice hug and continue breathing. You can do this exercise throughout your day. And this is a form of just a little tool that you use, a little trick that you can have and practice that will strengthen that connection that you have with yourself. And that we said is very, very, very important as a connection to have before you're able to connect in a healthy way to others. So this is our breathing exercise. It's a mindfulness exercise. Whoever has not done this before, I hope you enjoyed it, and you can continue expanding on it and learn how to maybe meditate or quiet your mind whenever you need to. So thank you, everyone. We will take questions now. Feel free to unmute, ask us questions, write them. If you have any questions on what we discussed earlier about loneliness, about sadness, about how you're feeling, you can share an experience if you want to, about the mental health issues that we discussed earlier, or about this breathing exercise, about the different connections and relationships that you have. So please feel free to ask, and we're here to answer any question that you have. Thank you, everyone, for listening in.
Yes, we received a few questions from the chat. You can all see that there's a Q&A tab at the right side of your screen. Yes, so Ushka, I kind of think that you've been reading them already. So yeah, we have a few questions, people asking how can they, kind of different ways they can improve their mental health, how they can relax during some intense periods, such as depression, for example. People are also asking how they can engage older scouts, because during the pandemic there've been a lot on Zoom and they're demotivated, and there's also quite like a long but very good opinion with some questions from one of the participants.
Yes. Well, thank you for connecting for all those questions. Well, I've seen in chat, meanwhile, that there is a lot of scouts also in this session room, and scouts and guides probably. And I just wanted to say before we start, that exercise, that breathing exercise that Farah was just leading us, it's also a brilliant exercise to do on summer camps or do on activities with children. It really helps them to calm down. And in my experience, especially with younger children at the beginning of summer camps, when they're so overexcited and they can't sleep, it's a really good thing to do in the evening before we send them to sleep. It really helps them to calm down, to take a good rest, and to have a good energy for them later. And now that I'm talking this, and I do know that there were some questions also on what to do back at home for mental health. One of the things that we didn't mention, but is really important, is having enough sleep. That's a lot of research is saying how this is important and how this is connected to also to the mental health, and how we maybe like this in the current situation when, people with working from home, schooling from home, we just don't really have this routine of that something ends and we move to another place. So it's all in front of computers, and then we easily get distracted in starting doing something else on the computer or starting to socialize on computers. So we can easily lose a feeling of time. But enough sleep is really, really important. and the consequences of not having enough sleep can be quite severe, quite hard. So that's definitely something that we can do. Do have enough sleep. And thank you for all of you here for doing all this hard effort, for joining us in crazy hours from all around the world. Just make sure that you have some good rest when this is over, okay? But if we go back to some of the questions, I would really recommend you to have a look on this, the website that we have shared with you. It may be better than if I go to explaining for every specific situation, but if you go to the website, I do believe it's also being shared on YouTube. It's definitely being shared here in chat. It's on PowerPoint presentation. But if you click on that, you can take a test. It's it's a psychological test. It's not something that we made up ourselves. And it can help you to really understand what's happening within you. Are you there, like, are there any signs of depression, anxiety, or stress? And then you can go and search for, based on what your needs are, to search for what would the best suit you to do, okay? But speaking generally, I said enough sleep, try to make some kind of routine or try to plan daily activities. Make sure that you are physically active. Try to do some exercise. Do some physical exercise. I was reading that a lot of there's summer camping and hiking here in Chad. Well, you need to be ready for summer camping and summer hikes. So make sure that you will be physical. That you will be in good condition when we are allowed to go camping. This would also mean that you will be setting a very good role example for younger scouts and guides, or younger maybe like participants joining the Duke of Edinburgh or all the others outdoor activities. Maybe Kaka would need some kind of support if there was anything very concrete. But I do remember one comment and I would love to take in the last minutes, is that someone said that in rural areas there's a lot of stigma around mental health. I think it's in all kinds of areas and among all profiles of people. We do have a lot of stigma, and we tend to avoid really asking people how they feel. And it's very challenging for us to listen to if people are opening up. So this is something that we can do, is that, yes, we can talk about what's happening within us. It's really important to know that most of the feelings that we do have right now, we're not the only ones having them. And there are millions around the world suffering or being confused with that similar emotions, with their similar, because we are all experiencing, the same pandemics, right? Just in very different environments and in very different ways. But also when we ask people, maybe that's something to think. When we ask someone, how are you and how do you feel? Are we really open to get the answer in this question? Because, okay, everything is okay, and they would just start doing something else. But sometimes people, they really need someone to tell them, something that's happening, some bits of something that's happening with them. So that's something all of us can do to really be, this listening eye to someone, a listening ear to someone who is in need. And I do believe we all have this capacity to listen. Okay, so when we're listening, we're not the ones to solve the problems. We're not the ones to say what works for a person, because that's something that every person needs to discover herself or himself. But it's definitely on us just to be there, and it's the presence that matters. And knowing that you are in relationship with someone is listening to you is really the thing that matters the most. So it's not what we say, but it's us that are listening. It might sound easy, but it's actually the hardest part. But I would very much recommend you to try this. Kaka, help me out. Anything?
No, I think there's just kind of a point of how to express negative emotions in a healthy way. But I think you talked quite a bit about it, so it's important I mean, what is the healthy way, right? I would say like socially acceptable, but still to express it, to find different ways to express it. But I think you mentioned already some of the ways, yeah, to talk to someone and to listen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the healthiest thing to do with, you know, those emotions that we call negative is to acknowledge them. And it's not trying to push them away, because they are here for a reason. And there's a lot of people who just can't stand to be sad, because seriously, that's, you know, sad faces or well, yeah, sad faces are not something that we're putting on Instagram, on Facebook, right? This is the community of happy faces and happy people, but we definitely know this is not the reality. So the best thing to do is to be honest to yourself and to really, you know, explore what is the reason for different emotions. So when we are sad, it's not something shameful. It's just us telling other people, hey, I'm here, I really need to be in contact with someone. And this is never bad, right? To be in contact, to be in a relationship. This is our survival need. And this is them. Okay.
Yeah, so people are asking for practical ways. I think we shared the presentation. In the presentation, if you look at it, all the links in the resources are live. That means that you can actually just click and just follow and read. They are all adapted for age groups of guides and scouts, which means from 6 to, let's say, 21, but can be easily adapted to other age groups as well. So if you're asking what you can do with young members or young adults, you will find plenty of suggestions there. Just take time to go through them and give them a go. Try it out. Yeah. So I think we kind of ran out of time. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're taking your coffee break. So an important part of self-care is also to know how to treat yourself nicely. And maybe that's your 15 minutes for a good cup of tea or coffee or just some stretching. Right, girls? I think it's time to say thank you to all of you. I think it was really nice to know that there was so much happening here on chat, and I also believe on YouTube. And we wish you all the best of luck. And yeah, be prepared. Okay, anyone else?
Thank you everyone for joining, for tuning in. And I hope you're really enjoying the summit. Continue watching the rest of the program. Thank you, Urshka and Koka. Yeah, and enjoy the rest of the summit, everyone.
Take care of yourselves. Bye.
Bye.